to another segment of Lore, where I look at the fictional history of popular franchises up until the main story, and I will quickly gloss over that if need be. Now, let's look at the terrifying sensation that's sweeping the nation, Five Nights at Freddy's. Our story begins in the early 70s at Fredbear's Family Diner. This was a family restaurant with animatronics and spring-locked suits similar to that of the real-life Chuck E. Cheese's. It had two mascots that were very popular with the kids. Those mascots were Bonnie the Bunny and, of course, Freddy the Bear. At some point in the next few years, a child is killed at this location by an unnamed suspect. This forced the location to close, and the owners had to sell to Fazbear Entertainment. Soon after, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is created with new mascots like Chica the Chicken and Foxy the Pirate Fox, as well as newer models of Freddy Fazbear and Bonnie the Bunny. At this location, the traditional spring-locked animatronics were replaced with newer, free-roaming machines that were allowed to interact with children to increase that fun experience. However, shortly after this, 5 children were reported missing. A suspect was convicted, however, no bodies were ever found. Later, Freddy Fazbear's is threatened with a shutdown for sanitation reasons, after foul smells were reported, as well as sightings of blood and mucus, or what appeared to be such, around the eyes and mouths of the animatronics. It is heavily theorized that whatever monster decided to kill these 5 children stuffed the bodies into the animatronic suits. Dear God, is that disgusting! Anyway, later a new Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is opened up, with newer toy versions of Freddy, Chica, and Bonnie. They also introduce the Mangle, the Balloon Boy, and the Puppet. These machines were cuter and more family-friendly, and were equipped with the most advanced computing systems that would allow them to identify criminals that entered the establishment, making for a safer playing environment for children. This is where Five Nights at Freddy's 2 starts. In 1987, the computing systems in the animatronics showed several flaws, as one animatronic, believed to be Mangle, decided to bite one of their customers, which was theorized to be a child. Now, luckily, the customer survived, but their frontal lobe was severed. And yes, I'm talking about part of the brain. Because of this, the newer animatronics were forced to retire, and the older, less independent animatronics were called in. Because of so many health issues that went on in the establishment, these animatronics were no longer allowed to interact with the people. And because of this, they were at risk of their motors and servos locking up due to misuse. Therefore, the management decided that they were allowed to wander around the halls and play areas of Freddy Fazbear's at night. And therefore, the first Five Nights at Freddy's begins. One flaw, however, to these animatronics is that when they see a human, they would automatically assume that it is an endoskeleton that no longer has a suit, and therefore they would take the endoskeleton, or the human, and shove them into a spare Freddy Fazbear costume, which unfortunately would kill the human in the process. Luckily, years later, the establishment was burned down and reverted into a horror attraction, and so goes the story of Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Now, this game does its job well. It successfully scares gamers and anyone who thinks they're brave enough to survive the 5 nights at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Well, some may say that the jump scares aren't that horrifying, and quite frankly, it's executed poorly, and it's just not that scary. Well, for the rest of us, your adrenaline's pumping, and the back of your necks are standing up. It's a lot like looking into the face of a bear that you know is going to maul you at any second. Or you're a child at Disneyland, and for some reason your parents just want you to go up and give that thing that looks like the Disney mascots a hug. No! Why is Pluto on 2 legs?